Welcome to RV Done Our Way. We've been renovating our 1989 Fleetwood Flare motorhome 26-footer for quite a bit now. This is part 7. We are going to attempt, and I am saying attempt, to paint the seats. And we're not going to dye them, we're not going to spray them. We are going to use chalk paint and, believe it or not, water. This is bare paint, and you can get it at Home Depot. It's chalk paint. It's roughly about $19.99 a quart. It's expensive, but it does the job. Now, my wife was supposed to do this job, and she hurt herself, doing certain duties around the house, work, all that stuff. So guess who's stuck doing it now? Moi. So, with that being said, we'll be right back, and I'm going to show you how to paint this seat with chalk paint and water. See you in a bit. Are we ready? Okay, well, we're back. Right now I'm explaining to you the job that my wife has, but she's behind that thing right there, so it's not, I gotta do it, of course. But anyways, got this bottle full of water. Now the idea is to mind you, this is my first time doing this, so excuse me if I screw up a couple times here and there. But anyway, we're supposed to wet this seat down, not soak it, but wet it, because it helps the chalk paint get into the material a lot better. So you spray it down, just like so. You can basically see the material getting wet because it gets darker as you wet it. And like I said, you don't have to soak it. Now you got to do it in sections at a time. You can't try to do too much at once. That's why it takes so long. But my wife will be doing this when she's not behind that camera or, taking video. So this job here takes a different brush. This is a round brush and it's real soft. Reason being, it holds more paint and it stays wet, and you can push the paint down into the seat. But we're not mixing the water and the paint together. You have to dip the brush in here, okay? Get the brush wet, and you put it here. Then you take a little bit of paint. You gotta put paint on the brush here, okay? And you take it here, and you see you want to put water in that paint. Now you take this brush, and you come up here, and look at that. You dab it. You keep dabbing this paint into the material. It's here. Dab it. And you come up here and you repeat that process. Now once you have, if it gets dry, what you want is wet this, grab some paint. Paint's thick, so when you bring it over here, it becomes more watery and diluted, so it can go in this material. You see how it's covering, going right into the material right now. So another procedure is, see the sanding block right here. You're to take this sanding block and move it across the seat. You don't have to go real hard, or so you can move this paint so it's in even layers instead of bunched up in one spot, and it helps put the paint into the material as well. I would think that you're going to do probably about maybe 2 coats, depending how much it takes to cover the material. And because this seat here has these designs in here, you'll see them in the black because I believe they're like stained, and you will see an outline just like you see them here, just like you see, except it'll be black. It won't be a different color. Right now this is multicolor, different colors here. And this will just be black, but it'll have that light dark look to it. And pretty much this is the process of doing the chair. Again, you have to take, as you start moving along, you have to take this water and you have to wet your material down. And of course, when you run out of air, you got to repump this thing because it runs, you know, you got to pump air into the canister. And like I say, you don't got to soak it, just enough to wet the material. And oh yeah, now we're getting a bath. But yeah, you see, now that's nice and wet. I'm going to drop this right here. I'm going to repeat this process. And if you're wetting the seat and this, sometimes you don't have to go with that water if the seat's nice and wet. But to cover yourself to where you don't work so hard and you know, spend so much time just in one certain area and stuff like that, you want to make sure you always got paint on that brush. But as you see, just like I said before, you have those darker, and you're going to see, you won't see it in the brown, but you'll see it in black because it's a different type, either dye or pattern on the chair. You're not going to get rid of it. And like I said, you take this, it's like wet sanding. And it don't take much. It's just to move this paint around to make sure it goes on the material easy. So pretty much that's how you do it, and you keep repeating the process till you get the chair how you want it. We're going to go ahead and keep at this, and we'll jump in from time to time and show you the process. Okay? We'll see you a little bit later.
Hey darling, can I tell you what's been on my mind? Sick and tired of the 9 to 5 in the city life. Hey darling, we could get out of town, see the beautiful world around, wanna see it now. Pack our bags and get in that car.
It's looking beautiful.
Leave a little note and we'll drive real far. Let's get out, we can leave this city. Let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty, with the wind blowing in your hair. We can look back someday. Baby, don't you understand that we only get one life? I wanna make it count, honey. Come on now and take my hand.
We're finally finished the captain chairs that my wife didn't like so much. So, with that being said, I want to show you the final product. These are drivers and passenger seat, both seats. They each took 3 coats apiece, and the process was a pretty good lesson because it was like I was never going to stop dabbing away at these seats. So yesterday I put 2 coats, and this morning I came back up here and gave it another coat because it sucked it all up. And the last coat I had to take half water and half paint, so it would get more paint in it than water, so it, you know, because it already had penetrated through it. That's what I needed, a good base. And it basically took 1.5 quarts, but the second quart was half water and half, I consider it watered down whole quart. So basically 2 quarts, three coats each seat. And right now they're drying. After this gets to dry, it's wet, we have to take the block, the sanding block we have, and run across it to take away a lot of the stiffness in it. So these will be sitting for a while and drying, and then we have to move on to the dining room seats. These are ugly too. You didn't think she's gonna let me have these stay these colors, did you? Nah, I gotta do some more poking. By the time I'm done, I'm gonna be the greatest poker. I'll learn how to dab a brush like nobody's business. We're back here. I'm giving a color to these cushions. These are the dining room cushions in the back of the dining room chair. Edge trim on the seats. Those are the side trim to the seats, which are gonna go black with what they call that. What was the color of that? What's the name of that color? Chestnut, or what was the number of the color? Pebble. They're little round dots like this that go buttons. You call them buttons. That go down. I'm like, man, we got a lot of black here. We got to offset this somehow. So we figured I'm going to spray the buttons the color of the walls so it'll offset it a little bit. But anyway, I gave this. I've been up all day dealing with the dogs, having to get a haircut because they were looking like mops. So I wouldn't have to buy another mop ever again if I used my dogs. But anyway, I had to give them both haircuts because somehow I inherited that job. And technically I was supposed to be doing this weekend, but it's like 6 o'clock in the evening now and I'm getting started. I gave it the first coat. I'm getting ready to give it a second coat. And as soon as I give it the second coat, guess what? We'll be back here again so I can show you what the second coat looks like. Okay? So, see you in a little bit.
Holy hell, 7 o'clock in the morning buzz. Ooh-wee.
Hey darling, can I tell you what's been on my mind? Sick and tired of the 9 to 5 in the city life. Hey darling, we could get out of town, see the beautiful world around, wanna see it now.